It is halftime here at the Orionsval Stadium. The United States 2, Sweden 1, and the U.S. women getting set to take on Japan in their next friendly match. And after losing in last year's Women's World Cup final, we had a chance to catch up to some of the players and coaches to see exactly how that loss could affect the U.S. Olympic campaign.
2011 in some ways was about second place for this team. We didn't win the World Cup. Nobody won Player of the Year, World Coach of the Year. Japan kind of swept us in that way, and that's fine. 2011, we'll give them that.
I think it was great making it to the final, but we didn't reach our optimal goal in that World Cup of coming home with it. It's not always brought up, and we don't always talk about it, but I don't think we dwell on the fact that we got second place. We all know that, and we all know where we were.
You have a choice, whether you want to look at that in a negative way, oh, we didn't win, or we are very good. We are doing good things. So I'm a positive person. My glass is half full, so I look at it, we had a good year, but you know what? Next year will be even better.
We're not going to go back in time. We're not going to try to excuse ourselves for anything that happened. What we can do and what's in our control is 2012. We have to qualify for the Olympics, and when we do that, we can go and defend a gold medal and be on that top podium at the end of the tournament.
Good stuff there. It was a heartbreaking loss in Germany last summer. We look ahead to the United States' next match against the Japanese. They've always been a very tricky prospect as of late.
Absolutely. They remind me of China of old. They're so technically good with the ball in small spaces. They move on and off the ball so well. They have a great understanding of how the game ebbs and flows. They move together as a union. I think the U.S. actually would do itself justice by watching Japan and kind of adopting some of those things that they do well, because it obviously did well for them in the World Cup.
All right, we'll see how things round out. The Japanese, always a tough adversary, as is Sweden, but the United States with the upper hand here at the break. We're going to step aside, but there's more to come right after this.
Bollen går tillbaks nu. Det är dags.
And we welcome you back to the Orionsval Stadium here in Halmstad, Sweden. The United States beginning their tune-up for the Olympics in 2012 over in England. As we embark on the second half, we'll see a substitution here as Carly Lloyd, the central midfielder, comes in for the very capable Shannon Box. Lloyd, of course, an integral part of the qualification phase. And we'll see Tobin Heath getting set to come in as well. And Becky Sauerbrunn in the center of defense for the captain, Christy Rampone. Glad you're along with us here for the U.S. Women's National Team on Universal Sports Network. Alongside Brady Chastain, I'm Christian Miles. And as we look at Tobin Heath coming in for Heather O'Reilly, what do you make of these changes from Pia Sundhage as we embark on the second half, Brandy?
Well, I believe, number one, taking Christy Rampone, she's thinking, you know, she's had a lot of games in those cleats, so give her a little bit of time off the field. She knows what she can do. Get Tobin Heath in there. Get Becky Sauerbrunn some time to get comfort level. I don't think Pia Sundhage is absolutely set on her back line for the Olympics, so I think she's testing that out. I don't think the center of midfield was great for the U.S., so I think she's looking for a little bit better out of the midfield in this half.
So 3 switches from the United States as they fine-tune things, and Rapinoe with a speculative first-time hit. It's a strong header right off the crossbar, and what a beginning to this second half for the Americans, nearly catching the Swedes napping.
Oh, my goodness. That is ugly. That is some ugly, ugly soccer there, and you know, I think what's great about Megan Rapinoe, she's trying to make something happen. It's not a great ball. What a great effort, though, on goal. Sweden, hello, the second half has started.
Hey, look at the stats. It's been open stuff. 2 more opportunities for the USA. So lively stuff here at Halmstad.
We talked about it many, many times when I was a player, when, you know, being here watching, commentating. The first 5 minutes, the last 5 minutes, critical. If you start strong, the tendency is that you're going to build the momentum and build the confidence. You can't come out like Sweden did and be flat and almost take a goal in the first few seconds of the second half.
Sweden had some good moments as well. 2-1. Wambach and Morgan on target, but the reply from Lotta Schalen. There you see Fischer, the captain, and the woman down. The newly anointed captain relieving Carolyn Sager of those duties, and coming up the worst for wear here.
That hurts. She kicks the bottom side of Carly Lloyd's shoe, and that could leave a mark.
Carly Lloyd asserting her presence early here.
Well, you have to remember, though the 18 for the Olympic team has been made, the roster's been made for the U.S., those players are still vying for a starting position. Everybody wants to start. And that's kind of the competitive nature and the way that the U.S. national team has evolved. I don't see that dying down. So I could see Carly Lloyd, Sauerbrunn, Heath coming in to make a statement.
Early stages of half number 2, Amy Lepelbit, the left-hand side of that American defense, picking out Wambach, who can't control.
It's frustrating as a forward when you're getting balls that are being played at your neck and at your head.
Here's Sofia Jakobsen for Sweden, looking for a response and some hard running from Sweden. This is Annika Svensson at right back. She'll pull it across, and good skill, assertive control of the penalty area from Hope Solo. That's what you like to see out of a goalkeeper.
You like to see that, and she does that very well. She wants to command that 18-yard box. She feels that's her space, and she will take control. Good cover by Becky Sauerbrunn initially. Ultimately, she needs to, once she makes that play, is find another player from Sweden that she can then put a body on.
Sauerbrunn, we'll see how she partners with Buehler in the back. Solo not lacking in confidence, regarded as the world's #1. Mix. This is Buehler. And long searching ball up and over the top, and you see the whistle against Abby Wambach. And you get a look at the 32-year-old. Second highest score in U.S. women's history. She just grabbed her 136th, and that puts her 22 behind the legendary Mia Hamm, one of your old teammates. The U.S. being caught offside on quite a few occasions, as you can see.
Well, I don't mind being caught offside. I think that's showing that they're trying to push the back line of Sweden. And Abby's always, and Alex, they like to play on the shoulder of the defender. They like to sneak a quick run in behind. I'm more concerned with these back four right here. Look at how narrow this shape is. Amy Lepelbit should be much wider. There's no reason for them to be that close in this situation. Spread Sweden out a little bit. Give yourself a little time on the ball. And then once the ball's played forward, get up and underneath the attack. Good ball there.
Morgan brings it down. She's caused all kinds of problems and squeezes out the cross, and Lindahl just gets a hand to it in the Swedish goal.
There may have been deflected off the defender for that to go towards the goal. That was an awkward ball.
It's a good way to describe this Swedish defending in the first half. At times awkward and uncomfortable. The United States not quite the finished product either. It's getting better. Here's Sauerbrunn. Buehler for Rapinoe. Good help and a one-touch forward for Wambach, who gives it away.
The ball in from Rachel Buehler to Megan Rapinoe wasn't her best ball. The balls coming from the back should be balls that help keep possession, not put the player under pressure.
Over the top for Jakobsen, tracked down by Lepelbit. She's got her work to do, and she's done it very, very well.
Again, the back four for the U.S., it will never be a question about can they recover, can they make up space. But can they, I'd like to see them read that earlier, take those drop steps, and then win the ball going forward as opposed to having to chase it back towards their own goal.
United States, of course, aiming for their third consecutive gold medal after taking care of Brazil in the final match in Athens in 2004, as well as Beijing in 2008. We apologize for the technical difficulties here. Early stages of the second half, the U.S. up 2-1. Great start here. We saw some bright moments from the get-go here in the second half, Brandy.
Well, right away, they put Sweden under pressure, nearly get a goal, ball off the crossbar. You know, it's quintessential U.S. mentality. Come out, put pressure.
We do apologize for the technical difficulties. The United States up 2-1. We're going to step aside, but there's more coming up on Universal Sports Network right after this. So we apologize for the technical difficulties. We'll get you back out to Halmstad in just a moment. But before we do, let's take a look at this U.S. women's team right now. They did great in qualifying, finishing at the top of CONCACAF for the third consecutive time. They're aiming for their third consecutive gold medal. Can they do it?
They can do it. And that really, at the end of the day, is what they want. They want to be able to win the gold medal. But I don't believe they're playing great soccer. They didn't have great opponents in the CONCACAF qualification besides Canada. We're looking at the statistics and the goals from recent games. You know, they were down to New Zealand. They scored 2 late goals. That's great for Alex Morgan. That's good for the U.S. team. But, again, I think even against this Sweden team, they need to be able to possess the ball better. They need to be able to get into the box more often. And there's a great goal.
There you get the goal. We come right back to the action, and who else but lucky 13, Alex Morgan, picking up right where she left off. The United States 3-1, but Tobin Heath actually sneaking in.
See, you're so used to Alex Morgan scoring, yes. They have the same ponytail.
It caught us unawares real quickly.
In this situation, Tobin Heath does a great job to finish this ball. She does it technically well. She heads the ball down into the ground, doesn't give Lindahl a chance to make the goal. But on the flip side, the Swedish defender, how can you allow Tobin Heath to be in the box without a body? This is just like a pet peeve of mine. It's like nails on the chalkboard. If you're a defender, your only job is to defend. Put a body on the nearest player. But great finish by Tobin Heath.
Yes, indeed. And Tobin Heath gets her 6th goal for her country after coming on as a sub at halftime. So making her head coach, Pia Sundhage, look like a genius. Good substitution. 1 of 3 changes at the break. The United States reestablishes a 2-goal advantage. Don't count out these Swedes, however. They have their own agenda, and they've proven to be a handful.
Now, we talked about it in the first half. When you have a player like Shaylin up front, she finds a way to get in and out of the midfield and the defense into the box. Right now, the U.S. should be thinking about how do we move this ball, make Sweden just work their tails off, exhaust them, and then when it's time for a layup or a slam dunk, you put it away.
Basketball reference. I like it.
Well, you know, I got that because when I was in college, I had a teammate who played basketball, and she only played soccer because she had to redshirt, and so the coach, my husband, had to explain everything in basketball terms. But everybody understands the layup, and everybody understands the slam dunk.
And here come the Swedes streaming forward. United States getting back in time. It's an early cross in. It's a good-looking ball, but Hope Solo, great command of her penalty area once again.
Well, Sweden has made the penalty area a little bit smaller. When you play it inside the 6-yard box, Hope Solo is going to swallow it up. She's that good, and she's that confident. So I don't ever see that as being a threat to the U.S. That ball has to be brought back. It has to be the ball that Megan Rapinoe played in the first half, where Lindahl couldn't come off her line to get it. That's the sort of ball Sweden needs to play to make Hope decide, do I come or do I stay?
You saw Alex Morgan there just a moment ago. What a great scoring rate she's on. 8 goals in 10 games. The best scoring rate in U.S. women's history since the days of Mia Hamm. Not even Abby Wambach has been scoring at the clip of lucky number 13.
It's quite impressive. It's quite impressive. I've been on the field with Alex Morgan as a teammate, and I've sat on the sideline at the collegiate level and watched her. And she's special in a way that, you know, you can't really put your finger on in terms of, like, here's the tactics and here's the technique. It's just that she just has a great will. She has a great mentality to get in front of the goal, and she desires to score goals. And it's fun to watch as a fan. I love it.
And really bursting onto the scene in Germany in the Women's World Cup last year is, you get a look at Caroline Seger coming up under the challenge of Carly Lloyd. She's really asserted her physical presence in the center of the park since coming on at the break.
Well, Carly Lloyd is not afraid of having contact, that's for sure.
Someone can speak from experience.
You know, neither was I. But it's good. You know, you have to make a mark. You have to make a statement to your opponent. You have to tell them, look, I'm going to own this space defensively, and, you know, it gives you a little bit more space than on the attacking side.
Goal scorer Heath combining nicely on the far side with Heather Mitz.
You can hear Pia in the background saying, bravo, bravo, you know, keep it moving, good combination play.
Sauerbrunn coming across and covering well for the right back. This is Rachel Buehler for Amy Lepelbet. Good circulation from the U.S. and a tricky Rapinoe. No way past Svensson. The U.S. able to win it back, and Lloyd with some thrust right through the center of the park, and she'll take this one early. And Lindahl nearly cut off her line once again.
It's a great first touch by Carly Lloyd because she plays it forward. She gets her head up. She sees that the goalkeeper's off her line. Lindahl, she just barely able to make that save. I'd say 6 inches forward, and that's a goal.
She was caught unawares by Abby Wambach and nearly burned twice. Shots on goal, dead even. We've had an open affair here in Halmstad. Tillebro on the left-hand side. And Heather Mitz getting stuck into the Swedish attack. Shalen. Oh, great turn past Sauerbrunn. The Swedish strikers did very well. The U.S. defender able to recover as we move to the hour mark.
Again, what's so great about Shalen is she's just so comfortable and confident on the ball. She moves with kind of a grace that, you know, she's a taller player, so she's not built low to the ground and she's not quick-footed. But she has a good way to move the defender with her body movement, and she's just very comfortable on the ball. She's fun to watch as well.
Keep your eye on her for this corner kick. Dahlqvist delivers and straight into the side netting. Hearts aflutter just a bit.
She's trying to play it into that near post. Runner, oh, here's the goal by Tobin Heath. Good, headed down. Again, I'm calling out all you kids out there, head the ball down. Exactly. Good job, Tobin.
And great technique for the woman from Basking Ridge, New Jersey. Youngest player on the Olympic team back in Beijing 4 years ago. Starting to mature and come into her own. She'll have a big role to play for the Stars and Stripes. Tunebro, who's been very impressive on the left-hand side of that Swedish defense. Shalen dropping into her own half, and it's a short, long, releasing the Swedes on the far side, but the recovery is there from Heather Mitz.
That's Sweden's game right there. You play it up high. It's the Scandinavian way. You play it up high, you knock it back, you get in behind. Heather Mitz does a good job there to recover to that ball.
The U.S. spreading the field. Heath roams over to the near side, and she's got it all to do. Silani, one of the substitutes for Sweden, able to clear it out of danger. Shaylin has got a lot of work ahead of her. She's done brilliantly. It's Lotta Shaylin for Sweden, stopped cold by the irrepressible Hope Solo.
Once again, here's a 2v1 or a 1v2 situation. Sauerbrunn tries to body her and then unfortunately ends up taking Heather Mitz out in the process. Again, communication, I think, is the key to the U.S. back four. You don't want to allow a player like Shaylin to get in behind and have shots on goal. Not technically the best shot she's ever had. Hope does a good job in that situation. She doesn't hit it with her laces. And I'm not sure it actually had a chance to be a goal.
She did well to conjure something out of nothing. We'll see a change in a wide area in attack for the United States is Amy Rodriguez, the 25-year-old, will come on, replacing the impressive Megan Rapinoe. Fourth switch for the U.S. and Rodriguez, who really set qualification alight, scoring 5 goals against the Dominican Republic back in January, equaling a record set by someone sitting very close to me, along with a few others.
Yes. Well, you know what? Amy Rodriguez's substitution here has to make Sweden go, oh, are you kidding me? Because she has got great pace. Her mindset is get the ball and go at the nearest defender, be aggressive, get into the box, make things happen. And, you know, at this stage in the 64th minute, you're not thinking that you want to start chasing a player 120 yards up and down the pitch.
And she's a real live wire, as they say. Cheney. That's a tricky ball there, and it's broken up by Alessani. Here comes Sweden. It's 3v3. It's put through. It's Shaylin. She's in, and she makes a hash of it. The Swedish strikers simply got it all wrong, but once again, they pry open that American defense.
What we see here, one, is a square ball in the midfield. Never a good idea. Her run maybe a little bit too narrow for that ball. And watch number 5, Sager, running on the backside of that. Possibly the better ball. But again, I think it's the movement off the ball that confuses the U.S. backline and it allows her to get in behind. So, one, pressure on the ball and then more cover in a more, I think, facing the play kind of way for the U.S.
Yeah, it was always going to be a difficult angle for Shaylin running away from goal. Something for the U.S. to think about.
Well, I think what they need to think about is not giving away a square ball in the middle of the park. Lauren Cheney knows better than that. I'm sure she's like, oh, that's my bad. She's just grateful that nothing ended up going in the net.
And dodged the bullet. Svenstrom wins it back. Since the goal, the Swedes looking pretty comfortable. They've asked the questions. Lepelbit trying to do the same, but that's easily intercepted. Goes just beyond Swedish captain Mila Fischer, and Lauren Cheney on it for the USA.
That's a much better, unfortunate. That's a much better idea to play the ball on angles going forward. She can get Amy Rodriguez in behind with her speed.
See the substitution here. Malin Levenstad coming in for Segerström, playing her domestic soccer for Malmo. 23-year-old making just her 6th appearance for the Swedish national team. We'll see what kind of a role she takes up. Sager. Tunnebro just hoofs one down the line.
Sometimes that's the best option. You know, for me, I love to have possession and keep possession, but sometimes, you know what, better safe than sorry.
U.S. shuffling the deck in midfield. A lot of people thinking that's perhaps where the biggest question mark lies for the United States. What setup will Pia Sundhage go in the Summer Olympics with the women in the center of the park? We shall see. Getting a good look at a lot of her prospects.
It's hard to know with Pia because she does like to hold her cards close to her chest. She doesn't like to give away too much. But what I do like about her is that she has tried different lineups. She's tried different systems. So if something's not working during the Olympics, you can go to something else. And I love that about her coaching style.
And she said that was one of her most pleasing attributes of her side in that 4-1 win against China. The way they were able to change in the second half and adapt to what the Chinese are throwing at them. We'll see if it rings true here, because it certainly is going to be one of the strengths that they need if they want to repeat as Olympic champions for a third consecutive time. Cheney, meanwhile, probing free kick and promptly dispatched here by the big Swedish defenders.
Here's a problem I have with that free kick. It's a ball that's from the center of the park going to the center of the goal. The margin of error is so small. You know, you have to put it on a dime for it to be good. So I'd like to see the U.S. maybe get that ball down on the ground, play it quickly, get the Swedish defenders off guard. You know, or put it down, act like you're going to play it long, play it short, maybe get it back. Something a little different than just playing it in a straight ball into the goalkeeper in that situation or into the back player.
The U.S. normally so good on dead ball situations, and Sauerbrunn impressively cutting that one out. Another one of those impressive defenders up in Vancouver during CONCACAF qualification.
Talked about it at halftime, giving the ball away with no pressure. That's been a problem for Amy Lepelvit so far in this game. And this back four, whoever they may be, depending on the starting lineup, they're going to have to take some playmaking responsibilities, because most of the time the midfields from the other teams will be congested, and so they will have to set play, and they have to do a much better job than they're doing right now.
Sweden on the ascendancy despite trailing 3-1. Better spell for them, but the United States with the answer. Cheney helps it forward, and a wayward ball.
That was a good retreat by Heather Mitz early. She won that ball going forward much better. Allows her to help keep possession of the ball.
Good ball from Lloyd to link up with Cheney, the whirling dervish. Nice turn. Lloyd. One of 4 changes as we get close to the 70-minute mark for the United States. Coming up next for them, they'll take on the Japanese, the reigning women's world champions. United States 3 games winless against their Asian opponents, and they'll have a big score to settle. We'll have it for you on Universal Sports Network.
That's not something that's been said that often, winless against an opponent. I remember back in the days that Norway was the only country that had a winning record against the U.S. national team for quite some time, and that really stuck in our heads. And even though in the interviews the players saying we're putting it behind us, that will always be there.
Here comes Sweden right now, looking to take a bite out of the U.S. Sager is in. It's a good recovery from Mitz, but the U.S. scrambling a bit. They're getting in behind and causing problems.
It's the combination play that's a real issue for the defense right now. Running off the ball, as you see there, a great run by Sager. Ball a little too heavy by Shaylin. But again, the U.S. has to have better body position, has to know where they want to force the ball, as opposed to allowing Sweden to play the ball and then them just recovering to that ball.
Have to win those 1v1 battles as you look at Alex Morgan from Diamond Bar, California, playing her club soccer up in the Pacific Northwest for Seattle Sounders women. Up in Hope Solo's neck of the woods.
What a great environment Seattle has created there.
Soccer, a huge following up in the Emerald City. Brought down well by Tobin Heath, but a referee calling a halt to things and a Swedish player down.
Maybe something people weren't seeing here, but the ball previous to the ball that got to Carly Lloyd, yeah, that's a little uncomfortable.
Meaty challenge from Carly Lloyd.
I think it's a little uncomfortable. I mean, Carly Lloyd didn't create that challenge. That was the Swedish player. But the header by, I believe, Rachel Bueller that came bouncing to Lloyd, if there's a good relationship in the back line, the center back, Sauerbrunn, will say to Rachel Bueller, let it go. There's no one coming to challenge. Let it go. It goes to Hope Solo, or she just goes and she recovers the ball. Now we keep possession. Now we don't have that collision in the center of the midfield. So a little bit more communication. It's hard for us to know how well that's going right now. But in that situation, it doesn't look like it was that good.
So double change here for Sweden. The midfielder Almgren, who plays in Gothenburg just up the road. And we'll see the other switch as the Swedes will bring on Madeline Edlund, 26-year-old, replacing the striker Lotta Shaylin. So changes in the attack here for Thomas Dennerby And the Swedes looking for the answer. They're trying to fine-tune themselves as they get set for Group F in the Olympics. South Africa, Japan, and Canada awaiting them.
I think the biggest sigh of relief is the U.S. saying, oh, Shaylin's not on the field anymore. That's a good thing.
Yeah, she's been a handful.
She has been a handful.
I mean, these two could meet, Brandy, in the knockout stages should they make it that far in London.
Absolutely, and that's why I think it's a big concern. And great, again, there, good movement off the ball. Look at Edlin comes in, and right away she has a shot on goal.
Good build-up play.
Good build-up. Perhaps she could take that with her left foot, bending it into the far post. So
Sweet.
That's a difficult goal to score with your right foot from that angle.
And the approach to be applauded here from Sweden. They've just lacked that sharpness in the final third. They've opened things up, but haven't taken their chances. Wambach did in the first half, and she'll link up with Morgan, who's come into a wide role.
Well, I think they've not had that sharpness in front of goal, although I think the finish by Shaylin was outstanding. What they haven't had is the focus defensively to not give away silly goals, you know, to be in good positions.
Over the top, it's Carly Lloyd, but did the flag go up? That appears to be the case.
That's a good play there by Lindahl, coming out early to snuff that out, even though it wasn't offside.
So Sydney Leroux, speaking of live wires, the U.S. making their 5th substitution. Remember, not the usual 3 as you would expect in normal competition. Alex Morgan's day is done. She did her job. The goal coming, of course, midway through the first half. And here comes Sydney Leroux, born in Vancouver, now calling America home, and this is one for the future. Her 12th appearance for her country, and would you believe it, already 7 goals to her name.
Well, once again, Sweden is not saying, oh, good, they're taking Morgan off.
Flag is up. Edlin just behind Lepelbit.
That was like by a hair she was offside. Oh, maybe not a hair, maybe 2 or 3. But dangerous situation again.
Lineswoman had a good view of it as well.
I think they call that the assistant referee now?
Yes.
Is that what they call it?
Yes.
Ah, they're stepping up with their...
Terminology has to be appropriate. We're still in the friendly stage.
Oh, right.
Working out the kinks. Here's Dahlqvist, who's scored against the United States in the past. It's helped on a free kick for Sweden. Challenge is becoming a little thicker here as we move into the final quarter of an hour.
Well, it's a good decision by Rachel Buehler to step up to put pressure on number 14. However, there's no reason to go into that. She's got her back to the goal. She's not going anywhere. Just force her to go backwards.
This could be a concern. The United States have conceded some free kicks. The 7th coming up.
It all depends on where. Here's another situation. Ball from the middle, play to the middle. Well, I mean, it's just not creative. It's useless. It's a counterattack waiting to happen. I mean, Sydney Leroux could be to the goal now. So I just find that just lack of creativity frustrating from both sides in terms of their free kick situation.
Cinnabro now wearing the armband on the left-hand side after Fisher came off. Wouldn't it be interesting if these two met once again in the London Games? This one pulled across. It causes a bit of concern for Sweden, but in the end, no harm done. Got a lot of questions to answer themselves as they gear up for the games.
Well, I find it interesting how determined Sweden is to play out of the back, and in that situation, they did a fine job, but Lindahl rolling the ball out in front of Sydney Leroux, Alex Morgan, Abby Wambach all day, I think that is just a recipe for disaster.
Here's Heath. She's already found the back of the net and trying to work that slide rule pass through that Swedish back four, but nothing doing there. Pia Sundhage, appointed back in November of 2007, the 7th coach in the history of this U.S. women's program. Gold at Beijing, won the Algarve Cup back in 2008, and of course got the U.S. to their first Women's World Cup final since your days back in '99 last summer. Good 1-2 down the near side, and the substitute Almgren squeezes off a great cross, and once again, Hope Solo scurrying to that near post, Brandy.
Again, you know, it's in the 6-yard box. Hope Solo doesn't have a problem with it. You know, she's set up for a long cross, but it comes short and she wins it. But going back again, there's a ball coming in the air to a back player, and this time I believe it was Rachel Bueller. She's clearing the ball instead of passing the ball with her head. It's a perfect situation for her to keep possession.
Sonny, tricky prospect as well. The referee spotting the infringement.
I'm not so sure about that. Let's see. No, I don't see a foul there, and in fact, if anything, Rachel Bueller then had her hand across the player.
One of those young Swedish players. Remember, they only have 6 players returning from the Beijing side.
Like I said, they have a fine tradition in women's football in Sweden, and I don't think that they need players that have 90, 100, 150 caps to do well. And their youth has been served. Obviously, they do quite well at the youth level as well. For them, it doesn't mean success if they have older players on the field. I think their young players are just quite as capable as their more veteran players.
It's all that delicate balance of trying to integrate the young with the old.
Well, I think when you have a country that whose population is not as great as the U.S., it gives them a chance to play together more, even at the younger ages. So I think there's less question mark about how they'll play. They have more of a set style than the U.S. does.
Well, true to the form of the men as well, expansive at times, very technical and tactical. Of course, the Swedish men losing out in the Euro 2012 yesterday. They were knocked out by England 3-2. Perhaps the women can restore some pride. Still, it's about a little over 11 minutes to do so. Good second half. Alsani, she's caused problems. Lepelbit trying to recover. What a challenge from the United States defender. Great recovery.
It is a great recovery, and it's a good, and she closes very quickly. Long touch by Asalani, not her best touch, and Amy takes advantage of that. Would love to see that go over the sideline for a throw-in, but when push comes to shove, rather give up a corner than a goal.
Marie Hammerstrom to take it. 4th corner today for the hosts. Goes to the far post and up and over everyone. A little overcooked as Dahlqvist will track it down. And Sweden going 3-1 winners in the Women's World Cup quarterfinals last time around over Australia for losing out in the semis to Japan. Wonderful run it was for the Japanese women.
The U.S. should be enjoying this game right now. They should be, keeping possession of the ball, trying to get into Sweden's end. But really now I think the mentality switches to end-of-game tactics. We're winning the game. How do we play out this game and keep the lead? That's not to say take it to the corner.
Still a little early for that. Lloyd.
But in terms of, where should we keep the ball? Where should we, if don't make mistakes, who should we get the ball to? Those types of things.
It's been Sweden who's been the more comfortable looking of the two in the second half, despite the U.S. getting the only goal of the final 45 thus far. Lepelbit once again resorting to the long ball, and LaRue just trying to get in behind, much like Alex Morgan plays.
But when you're in that situation, when you're that close, again, the margin for error, to put it there is just so difficult. Amy Lepelbit hasn't been successful with that ball all day. Why not just keep the ball? You're winning the game 3-1. You don't want to give the ball away. Sweden has proved that they've actually done fairly well in, transition from defending to attacking. So for me, Amy Lepelbit and the back four should just be thinking about keeping the ball, making simple passes into the midfield, keep possession, and just get up to support it.
Headed away by Emma Berglund. Swedes take over once again. Alsani off to the races, and Sabrin puts an end to that right quick.
And I think get the ball to the players who have just come onto the pitch. Amy Rodriguez, Sydney LaRue.
Svensson surveys her options. It's the long ball knocked forward. Uncomfortable as Sager was encroaching on the U.S. goal.
Woo! That was pretty close. Good play by Rachel Buehler to clear it out. Albeit a little nervy, I think, off the back of her head. It's a good cross by Sweden.
Sweden, a large spell of possession in the U.S. half and really making them look awkward at times in instances like this.
I mean, that's a good recovery by Rachel Buehler, but I'm not quite so sure why she's off of Sager in the first place. She's in the box. There should be a body right on that player, not chasing back to recover.
I don't think there's any question about the USA's athletic ability to recover. The question right now, perhaps the defensive positioning.
Yeah.
Sweden are finding those spots, and it has to be a concern, but still 2 games to go to tune things up before London 2012.
And just, you know, to fast forward to the next game, you're going to be playing Japan, who lives in those small spaces in between players. So if Sweden's good at it, Japan's going to be excellent at that.
Hammerstrom loses out a gift for the USA. Lloyd trying to push it up for LaRue. They just can't find that understanding. Good first touch from Sager. An interesting battle. Talk about tactically sound. The Japanese almost rigidly so. So well disciplined, so well drilled.
They are, and they just understand. They have such great soccer ebb and flow knowledge. You know, when is it too dangerous? When does it need to be played long? You know, and they're so technically good with the ball at their feet that they're not really rattled under pressure, which I think for most teams becomes frustrating.
It's a good touch forward. Once again, Alsani, but she's closed down by 2 American defenders, and Mitz clears it out of harm's way. This is Lauren Cheney. Heath. Just loses out. Alsani, she's really been a bright prospect since coming on as a Swedish substitute.
She's been a bit of a Jack Russell Terrier up there.
Well said.
But the U.S. has also given the ball away too easily, like that, right there. There's no reason to be losing possession without pressure. This team is quality enough, with quality enough players not to give the ball away.
Dahlqvist down into the challenge of Lauren Cheney. Sager. Now for Edlund. Nowhere to go past Carly Lloyd, who's really provided a lot of steel in the center of the park. Good ball winner, a destroyer of sorts.
She is. She has a lot of qualities on the defensive side as well as on the attacking side. Unfortunately, I think for this U.S. team today, they haven't had a lot of play in the center of midfield. Cheney, Lloyd, Box. You know, Heather O'Reilly didn't touch it that much. I don't even know if Amy Rodriguez has touched the ball more than 1 or 2 times. And the ball needs to move a little bit quicker. Amy Lapel be a little wider. The U.S. team just needs to be a little bit more confident on moving this ball.
Rodriguez to the near side. The U.S. just trying to get out of their own half right now. They boot it long, and once again, resorting to that long ball, and it has not paid off.
And it's not just so much a long ball, but she plays it with her right foot from the left side of the field. It's only going to bend out of bounds. It's like, it's just technically incorrect. And again, at this level, you're going to pay when you make mistakes like that. Maybe not today, but in the big game you will.
Sager intercepted by Lloyd. Svenstrom to the near side. That one cleared away by Heather Mitz. Safety first, really wasn't going to take any risks whatsoever.
And the call from the goalkeeper was away, and Heather Mitz did exactly what she's supposed to do. If you can't clear it up for a throw-in, you're going to give up a corner.
So the Swedes on the corner spot, trying to make it interesting. What a goal could do for their confidence here and make the final 3 or 4 minutes very, very interesting. Hammerstrom standing over it with that left foot, so beware the outswinger here. Exactly what we see, and the big central defender Berglund coming forward. The U.S. don't clear their lines, but they get a hold of it well enough. Here's Amy Rodriguez back for Mitz, and finally out of their own half.
Now can we talk end-of-game tactics? Give it to Sydney LaRue, let her run onto it.
Yep, LaRue, who she's done brilliantly, pulls it back. Everything you're supposed to do Oh, the run was on the outside channel to that far post.
And maybe I would even say to Sydney Leroux, just keep dribbling. Just keep dribbling. She's very unselfish, and we saw that in the qualification. She gave some great passes to her teammates. In that situation, just keep dribbling. Keep that ball. Maybe she finds Tobin Heath, who was a late runner into the box, with after one or two more touches.
The U.S. trying to finish with a flourish. Good turn from Amy Rodriguez. Lloyd for Cheney, and the switch now as Lepelbit will join in. Better spell this, and Lepelbit just hoofs one up there, hoping for the best. It was nearly had her prayers answered by big Abby Wambach.
Abby is always a threat in the box. I don't care if the ball's right on her or 10 yards away. She's going to find a way to get her head on it. She's so remarkable in the box that way.
United States, of course, against Japan, but then they will wrap up their Olympic preparations back home on U.S. soil in Sandy, Utah, just outside of Salt Lake City. Well, they will take on their CONCACAF rivals, Canada. Side that they beat 4-0 in the final match of qualification back in January.
It's a great little touch by Sydney Leroux. The ball comes off a throw-in. And, you know, throw-ins, it's amazing how many times the ball is turned over in a throw-in. And here we see Abby Wambach just offside barely. But Sydney Leroux, the ball comes to her midsection. She just uses her thigh to touch it in Abby's direction. That's a great touch. But please, kids out there, don't throw the ball into the person's midsection. Can't do much with that.
7 times U.S. caught offside. Wambach with the flick for Leroux, supported well by Heath. U.S. have gone with a direct approach.
Good win there. Good combination.
Cheney trying to play it forward. The final ball, though, just beyond Tobin Heath.
Well, in that situation, I think that's the ball is predicting the play. It's running fast, so she's playing fast. You know, maybe take an extra touch. It's all right. You know, it doesn't have to be 2-goal every time. She makes a great combo in the midfield. That's awesome. And then slow down. It's not on, don't play it.
Leroux's header trying to locate Wambach, and does. Rodriguez. Really haven't seen the best out of her. She's got immense talent.
Well, she's got undeniable speed and an aggressive nature for sure.
U.S. with all kinds of wrinkles they can throw at opponents. They've got the power with Wambach, and certainly they've got those 2 live wires in Leroux and Alex Morgan. Heath, a crafty attacker in her own right, and here's Carly Lloyd playing it wide. Here come the United States, looking for their 4th. Heath continues to run. It's dropped back. Cheney closed down by Alsani. It's Lauren Cheney. She'll let it rip, and that one just high on the crossbar, but a rare chance for the U.S. in the second half.
It is a rare chance, but why it happens is because Lauren Cheney doesn't rush it. She does a great job to allow the defender actually to overrun the play. She spins and she hits that ball. Granted, not her best strike. We've seen her make some unbelievable strikes in qualification, and she can score great goals. But I love the fact that she was composed and she didn't rush the play, unlike the last time.
4 minutes added on by a Romanian referee.
4 minutes, this is a friendly.
Remember, folks, if you're in the Utah, Salt Lake City area, get a chance to go see the United States take on their CONCACAF rivals, Canada, on June 30th at Rio Tinto Stadium. Should be a good one.
Rachel Bueller, please do not play this ball right to the goalkeeper.
She'll loft one up, and that's food and drink for the Swedish defenders as Levenstein heads it clear, but the U.S. will have a corner.
This does have a chance. Sydney Leroux is coming running on. Good play by the defender to flick it over. But again, I think it's just not as creative as the U.S. needs to be, and sophisticated, really. We're coming into the Olympic Games, biggest tournament. You need to have that in your pocket as well.
So Cheney to take it. U.S. looking for a good finish here. It's a nice punch from Hedvig Lindahl. Here's Lloyd, and it's beaten away by the Swedish goalkeeper. U.S. pouncing, but unable to capitalize.
Well, Abby took out the goalkeeper and the defender with this jumping attempt. And the goalkeeper does a good, Lindahl does a good job to knock it away and then get up and make that save. The defender not so lucky.
Yeah, the defender really paying the price, and Lloyd just let it rip with everything that she had. Former Rutgers star has so much power behind it. And it's the former captain, Carolyn Sager, who's down. The more experienced members of the Swedish side really sacrificing herself.
Yeah, Abby came right through the back of her, jumping over. Not an intentional foul or anything, just attempting to get up, to get the head on the ball there. That's a knee to the back, or that just doesn't feel good is what it is.
Always one of the more routine but rather unpleasant facets of the game. You've been there before.
When you get a forearm to the back of your neck, it's, you know, it's not that much of a feel-good moment.
Substitution will have to wait. It sits up, and Bueller just gets underneath it and skies it well high. And
I love that corner kick, however. You know, it's a kind of a set play after you've kind of, you know, they're thinking you're going to play it long. You've done it a few times, and now you throw them something different. That's good. That's the kind of savvy and subtlety that the U.S. need to bring into the Olympics.
Yeah, a little more ingenuity.
Yes.
Edlund for Sweden. Drops it off for Hammerström. Lapelbit dispatches. Final minute here at Halmstad. Better stop here, and Mitz is caught out, but it's offside against Sweden. Or was it a handball? Tough to tell.
I think it was an offside position, but just so. And what a great touch. That was a really nice touch.
Very, very tight.
Oh, I'm not so sure. Hard to tell from our angle, but what a great touch.
Not too shabby there from Edlund.
Great touch.
Segeroff, Lennström on. Another attacking option. The woman who plies her trade for Frankfurt over in Germany. Pelbit repels. Alsani arrives on it for the Swedes. Scandinavians looking for a last-ditch goal. The result looks pretty much impossible for them at this point. Plenty of positives, however, and that's going to do it. The United States with a positive result, but still some question marks.
I think, you know, Pia is such a the glass is half full kind of person. She's going to say, look, we scored 3 on Sweden. They were in the top 3 from the World Cup. We feel good about this result going into the game against Japan. However, the underlying theme for me is that the little things need to be taken care of. Better relationship in the back, you know, better combination play, find the playmaker.
All right, goals from Wambach Morgan and Tobin Heath guiding the way for the United States full time. Sweden 1, the United States 3. Stick around, there's more coming up, including our wrap-up next. And we welcome you back to Halmstad. The United States 3-1 victors in their first of their 3 matches ahead of the London Olympics coming up in just over a month's time. Goals from Abby Wambach and Alex Morgan in the first half, and Tobin Heath adding to one early on in the second, but the United States still with some question marks here and some doubts perhaps as they look ahead to Japan.
Well, I think the goods are, again, 3 goals. You always have to look at that score line and say, did we score enough goals to win the game? The answer is yes. The not-so-goods, in my opinion, is that the back line did not play as well together as they should have defensively, and I think even coming out and being a part of the attack. They didn't keep the possession well. They didn't make enough connective passes. I think they gave away the ball when there was no pressure. So I think that's something that Peel will certainly look at.
Yeah, certainly the first half was much better than the second half. We had 2 goals in the first 45, but let's take a look at the third goal from the United States that came in the 54th minute, and it was Tobin Heath. Talk about a poacher's goal. She got in behind just between those 2 central defenders and made no mistake.
No mistake, and what's great about it, it's a simple header down to the ground. The goalkeeper cannot win that ball. I just don't understand what the Swedish defender's doing, allowing Tobin Heath to go untouched in the penalty box. That cannot happen, and I think that's something actually the U.S. team needs to take a look at as well.
Let's take a look at some of the adjustments that Pia Sundhage made with these substitutes. What did you make of the changes, and how did the U.S. react in the second half?
Well, they didn't play well. I think, Shannon Box and Carly Lloyd and Lauren Cheney are really important, but they need to get the ball more. I think the U.S. needs to get them the ball more, and I think you'll see a more positive U.S. team in the future.
All right, no clean sheet, but a good performance from Hope Solo in goal once again.
She owns the box. Especially the 6-yard box. Sweden put the ball in there quite a few times. The difficulty is for her is to organize that back four, so there's no shots on goal.
All right, changes to come. The United States still with 2 more games ahead of the big London Games coming up in 2012, and they start their tune-up with a positive result, 3-1 victors over Sweden. That's going to do it for us. On behalf of Brandy Chastain, I'm Christian Miles. We'll see you next time on Universal Sports.